Man, these MORryde steps are fantastic. We've been using these steps in our fifth wheel the last 2 years now. Very sturdy, very attractive, easy to operate, not a lot to say bad. But there are a couple things that have caused us grief, and we're going to share that with you. But first, let me show you how easy it is to operate these steps. So obviously, they're out right now. To stow them, I suggest you sweep them off before you put them up inside if you want to get in trouble. Done deal. I can't tell if I'm centered in the picture, so if I stoop down a little bit, forgive me. And then to put them back out, it's as simple as this. Make sure that door is all the way open or it's going to hit on your jamb. And there you go, you're set. Now, the legs on both sides are adjustable for leveling, which is a great feature. And for the most part, that does everything you need. But let me tell you a couple things that we ran into over the last 2 years. And not very often, but they can happen. So, one thing is if we're traveling and all we want to do is spend somewhere overnight, and say for example we want to go to a rest area or maybe even a truck stop, and we want to put the steps out, depending on the size of the space, these steps can infringe on the space next to you. Now you would hope that an RV or a truck or a car wouldn't park that close to you, but to be honest with you, it could happen. We've actually been in rest areas where we parked and it was a drive-through and we were parked against the curb, that these steps would never work. We've had trucks come this close to our rig, and it's scary. So staying overnight in a rest area or a truck stop could be a challenge. So to offset, because we don't like rest areas and truck stops to spend the night anyway, we will try to find a side street, for example. And if that side street has a curb, even if you put the levelers in all the way, the curb might be high enough that will stop you from closing your door. Now, I have a couple props out here to kind of imitate that. So let me show you what I mean. So let's say you're parked next to a curb. You just parked, you put your steps down. Now your steps are sitting on a curb. Now even pretend that those levelers are all the way in. Not unbelievable, it has happened to us. So you get the steps out, you're already spending the night, you do what you have to do, you go to shut the door, and that's it. The door hits the steps. No good. So then you either have to pull farther away from the curb so your steps aren't on the curb. Well, that puts you a long ways out in the street. That doesn't work. Or you do what we've done and we go find someplace else to park. So after a long day of travel, you think you find a place to stay. You put your steps out, you do what you need to do. Maybe you put your slide out over here over the curb. You go inside and start to shut the door and it doesn't shut. That's a bummer. So anyway, it can happen. Another thing we have had happen is we've been in 2 different campgrounds to where the RV was parked on gravel and we had a concrete patio, and the concrete patio was up about that far over where the tires were, and the same thing happened. We could not put those levelers in far enough that would allow for the door to shut. So what we did both times in those situations is, one, we actually pulled forward, put a bunch of blocks underneath our tires, raised the RV up higher, and we got away with that, doing that way. Another time, we just raised the jacks up, and we raised the RV up, and the tires were actually off the ground, which I don't like to do, but it worked out for a night. And we was able to get the steps in a situation where the door would shut. So, not a perfect world, even though they're fantastic steps. They're far better than those old steps that were out in the market. A lot more sturdy, very safe to walk up and down. But they're not a perfect world. And for us, we've decided that these steps don't fit in our lifestyle because of those situations. And I think we have a solution. And I'm going to show you that solution in just a minute. So hang on. Okay, so like we mentioned in the first half of this video, we thought we had a solution to the issues that we personally had with the MoreRide steps. And again, the MoreRide steps are fantastic steps. We're not taking away from that at all. But for us, in some of the ways we camp, some of the things we do, we ran into some issues. But as you can see, we have something new on our new fifth wheel. And this is the Glowstep Revolution Uprising by Torque-Lift. Yep, Torque-Lift. Like I said, we've only had this now for about 5 days, so not any real practical experience, just experience playing with it here in the lot, moving around. So, things I've noticed so far, the MoreRide step was certainly more solid when it's fully extended. This is fully extended right now. Now I'm north of 200 pounds. In the first half of the video you saw me jump up and down on the MoreRide steps. It didn't move an inch. And when I jump up and down on the Glowstep, I get a little bit of movement, a little bit of bounce, but not very much. And typically you're not going to jump up and down the steps like I was doing. So just walking up and down, no issue at all. Now, what I love about this step is the flexibility. So let me show you first how to put it back in the door and bring it back out. Very simple. So we are fully extended. This is actually an extra step that you can put in or out, part of the flexibility that you have. So to bring the step in when it's fully extended, you want to pull this lever and slide that bottom step in. And it just locks in place. Now, the MoreRide had an actual locking mechanism that locked in behind the door jambs. I might like that a little better, but the jury's out on this. With this, these nylon bushings kind of slide past a rubber stop. And I'll see over time if that rubber stop wears out. And if it does, that's going to allow this step to kind of be more sloppy. And then to bring it back out, you just pull it past that rubber stop. Extend it out. If you want that extra step, pull the lever again. And you're all set up. Now, there's a lot of flexibility, a lot of adjustment right here on this particular step. The MoreRide adjustments were more hidden inside of the step frame, where this one is very visible. This looks like a lot more, but really I think the MoreRide step probably had pretty equal flexibility as far as the step goes down here. Now, here is the plus to the torque lift step, the Glowstep. And that is being able to get close to the RV. Now what I found is, if you put in that bottom step, and then bring it in close to the coach, even though you have a little bit of slope to the steps, you can get a lot closer. Now, I don't have a handle here because this is a brand new coach. We're still at the factory, so I don't have a handle. So it may look awkward, but it's only because I don't have something to stable myself. So there you go. So, like this, if you're in a storage yard, you can even get closer than I am now. You can make this almost straight up and down. If you're in a storage yard, or a truck stop, or a rest area, or anything like that next to a curb, this outdoes the MoreRide hands down. Now again, we have no practical experience with it. We're only hearing a lot, but it's pretty obvious the advantages. So once we have some time to actually use this, we're leaving the factory here in a couple days. Once we use this for 2 or 3, 4, 5 months, we'll come back and do another video and tell you how we feel about it then. But right now, I think we're going to like it. So, how about giving us a thumbs up if you like the video at all? Maybe subscribe if you haven't before. Hit that notification bell because you don't want to miss the video when we talk about what we think about it later on. And we have a bunch more stuff coming too. So, that's it. And as always, have a great day, and we'll see you in the next video.